Hi, welcome back. In this video, we will learn about ready-made template. You need to remember to write an answer to the question asked on constitutional bodies, statutory body, quasi-judicial bodies. Example of constitutional bodies: Election Commission of India, UPSC, National Commission on Scheduled Caste. Example of statutory body is Lokpal, NHRC, that is Human Rights Commission. Example of quasi-judicial bodies, that is NGT, National Green Tribunal. Now we'll see what all dimensions you need to remember to write an answer. In the introduction, you can start with defining the nature of the body and mention article or act through which it is established and write its intended role in the democracy. Let me explain you by taking Finance Commission as an example. Finance Commission is a constitutional body which is established under Article 280, which acts as fiscal bridge between center and the state. It transforms constitutional intent into financial justice. Example of statutory body, that is National Human Rights Commission, you can start with NHRC is a statutory body created by Protection of Human Rights Act 1993, which deals with protection and promotion of human rights. It is often referred as India's human rights watchdog. Now we will see what is the significance of these bodies. First one is institutional autonomy, acts as a check on executive overreach. For example, Election Commission of India acts as a check on executive overreach. They are the guardian of rule of law, upholds transparency and accountability. For example, Lokpal. They deepens the democracy by ensuring participatory governance. For example, again, Election Commission of India ensures participatory governance through free and fair elections. Next one is functional specialization. They provide the domain expertise in regulation. For example, SEBI, Security and Exchange Board of India, which regulates stock exchange market. They are the builders of the public faith, ensures trust in the governance. For example, UPSC's fair recruitment process. They are the preservers of federal equilibrium. For example, Finance Commission acts as a fiscal bridge between center and the state. They are the instruments of social justice. They ensure representation and the welfare. For example, National Commission on Scheduled Caste ensures the representation and the welfare of the community. They act as a quasi-judicial efficiency, offering accessible redressal beyond the mainstream judiciary. For example, NGT deals with the environmental cases. Now we'll see what are the challenges of these bodies. First one is politicized appointments, lacking transparency and meritocracy, budgetary dependence on executive, which curbs the autonomy, toothless recommendations or limited enforcement, where recommendations are only advisory in nature, not binding, structural vacancy paralysis, which leads to delays in appointments. For example, vacancies in NHRC, lack of independent secretariat, which makes them dependent on bureaucracy, overlap and turf wars between the bodies. For example, Niti Aayog versus Finance Commission, no separate investigative cadre, which makes them limited enforcement. For example, Lokayuks lack separate investigative cadre, underutilization of technology, leading to procedural delays. Now we will see what are the implications of these challenges. The first one is democratic backsliding due to compromised neutrality. Marginalized voices are excluded when social justice institutions are dysfunctional. Public trust deficit, eroding faith in the institutions. Delayed justice delivery, affecting the human rights. Erosion of rule of law whenever there is a ignorance of recommendations of these bodies. Decline of constitutional morality through selective institutional application. Rise of executive hegemony if counterbalancing institutions weakens. And lastly, policy paralysis when key bodies fail to function. For example, lack of local action. Now we'll see what are the steps taken so far. First one is Supreme Court judgments ensuring independence of these bodies. For example, in recent Anup Barnwal case 2024, Supreme Court recommended separate panel for appointment of Chief Election Commissioner. Statutory amendments, for example, Lokayukt and Lokpal Act 2013, increased budgetary allocations, for example, to Election Commission of India, increased allocations for infrastructure and digital election tech, digital platforms such as NHRC, online grievance portal, interagency coordination platforms, for example, between NCSC, that is National Commission on Scheduled Caste, with other state commissions, creation of model guidelines, for example, DOPT, that is Department of Personnel and Training for tribunal functioning. Now we'll see what we'll write in the way forward. First one is transparent collegium or committee based appointments with multi stakeholder input, financial autonomy via Consolidated Fund of India, removing executive dependency, statutory backing to the recommendations, make the recommendations binding, creation of separate investigative wing, for example, to the NHRC or Lokaयुkt, permanent secretaries to reduce the burden, to reduce the dependency on the bureaucracy, and proactive sumoto powers to the right-based institutions like NHRC. Now we'll see what we can write in the conclusion. You can end your answer by writing the importance of the particular body asked in the question, and further writing, however, to move from symbolic oversight to structural impact, suggest some measures. I will take an example of National Commission on Scheduled Caste and National Commission on Scheduled Tribe and tell you how to write a conclusion. NCSC and NCST are the constitutional sentinels for historically oppressed communities. However, to move from symbolic oversight to structural impact, they need sharper mandates, real time enforcement, greater grassroots reach. Let me repeat: National Commission on Scheduled Caste and National Commission on Scheduled Tribe are the constitutional sentinels for historically oppressed communities. However, to move from symbolic oversight to structural impact, they need sharper mandate, real time enforcement, and greater grassroots reach. Now, let us see what all dimensions we have covered in this video. I have given you the intro, that is separately for a constitutional body and for a statutory body by mentioning article and here act. I have given you the significance, challenges, implications, steps taken, and a way forward, and further conclusion. I will come up with the next important theme. Until then, I hereby signing off, one of the unreserved mind of UPSC community. Thank you.